here, see if we start streaming. Supposedly we are going live, but I don't know if that's true or not. So I'm just going to wait a little bit, and hopefully we are. So, hi everybody, I'm Jason Brenizer. I am the host of the Phenomenal Future podcast. I am the lead at the Phenomenal Future Project, and I'm going live 365 days in a row to be able to share all kinds of amazing, hopefully amazing content for people, artists especially, who are interested in learning about blockchain and how they can leverage this new technology to take control of their careers and to create a phenomenal future for themselves where they have amazing income, earning that strictly from their art. Let's ditch the day job, right? And throw out the middleman. That's the idea here at Phenomenal Future. Now, I am exploring all of this new blockchain world since it's all so new. It's in its infancy. So I am on the bleeding edge of what's going on and learning as we go. And also working on a number of projects to really dig super deep into the technology behind NFTs and the programming for smart contracts and the design of those, not just for something that gets to be launched today, but something that has a lifetime for a very, very long time and can potentially earn artists money again and again and again, and not break down, hold their value and hold their it would be like, I guess, you want your NFTs to be like really fine automobiles that stand the test of time and don't fall apart. You don't want to put out a whole bunch of Yugos. Most of you who are young won't even know what a Yugo is, but it was a tiny, tiny little car made in Yugoslavia back in the 80s. It was one of the first kind of Eastern Bloc vehicles that we ever saw, and you could buy them for $3,000 or less back then. But they were kind of a joke. They didn't. I think they maybe had 3 cylinders. Didn't even have 4, and people were buying them and kind of making art installations out of them. I mean, they weren't really worth anything as a car. So I'm just telling you, you as an artist don't want to be making Yugos. You want to be making Ferraris or something like that, you know, or at least something that's unique and like a Corvair. I think people collect those. They really weren't that big of a deal when they first started, but they've actually held all kinds of value because they're still chugging along in many ways and can be worked on pretty easily. So long, crazy analogy for what I'm trying to say. We want your stuff to be earning you income for a long time. And the cool thing about NFTs that's a little bit different than how the world has worked for you up to this point. Let's use an author who sells a book. I've described this before on one of our live videos, but an author who sells a book one time makes a tiny little fraction of the sales price. Most of it goes to the publisher. But when that book is sold again on the used market, they don't make any money. The cool thing about NFTs and the immutability of these NFTs on the blockchain, because there are many blockchains out there right now, is that every time it's sold, it's something that can be tracked. And you can bake into your smart contract a royalty that you as the author would get on any resale of that piece of art that you make. So pretty cool. You may be able to sell your book initially for a couple of dollars, but if each time someone trades it off to somebody else, you got a cut of that, that would be really nice over time. It could really add up. So that's one super simple example of what's possible with NFTs. That's different. Really a game changer in the way that artists can have a long-term career. Today, though, I actually really want to talk about one topic, and that is NFT, what that actually stands for, non-fungible token. That, I mean, first of all, when you say something is non-whatever, you got to know what the whatever is. So we need to talk about fungibility, and that's a weird word, right? I mean, is that something we use in our everyday speech? No, it's the kind of word that only people in New York, on Wall Street talk about. But we need to know. We need to know what it means. Language is power. We want to be empowered. So we're going to talk a little bit about fungibility versus non-fungibility and give a couple of examples. I just figured it was important since I keep talking about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and that just doesn't mean anything in and of itself. So I want to dig down into this and really help people get a grasp of this, about what the possibilities are, the full range of possibilities. So let's start with fungibility. A fungible token, a fungible item, that's all token means, it's a thing. It just means a thing. A fungible token can be interchanged with another token of the same type. So this whole idea of fungibility implies that all assets have equal value regardless of their origin, okay, or regardless of when they were created, for instance. So a good example of a fungible token out there is fiat money. Yes, I'm using another term that's also something we throw around very rarely. Fiat money, like US dollars. US dollars, the little things that we see that are about yay big and green and usually have presidents or other notables on them. Those US dollars, those are examples of fungible assets. You can exchange a $10 bill. I like to call that the Hamilton. You can exchange, I hope that's correct, I think it is. I really love the haircut on Hamilton, by the way, on those $10 bills. You should go take a look at it. I had a friend that had that exact same haircut in the early 2000s, and it was not in style at that point, but he really could rock the Hamiltonian. So anyway, I digress. The $10 bill that was printed in 1972, you can exchange that for another $10 bill that was printed at a different mint and that was printed in 2001 and has a different, treasurer's signature on there and everything. Those are equivalent regardless of where they came from. It came from one bank and you got it from a person, doesn't matter. They are 100% equal, equivalent, and can be traded. Now, it's similar. One Bitcoin, even though there's no physical Bitcoin, it's just a digital representation of information on a blockchain. You can swap one Bitcoin for another one. They have the same value. So those are examples of fungible tokens or items or things. Now, we want to get into a little bit of the contrast. What's a non-fungible token? What is something that would be the opposite? Well, a non-fungible token or a good has unique attributes so that they are not, one is not mutually interchangeable with another similar one, but not exact asset. So I'm going to switch over here, give you a little bit of a screenshot here. So if we were to kind of compare a chalet up in the mountains and a house with a swimming pool, and let's say, I know the picture doesn't show this, but let's just say that the chalet and the house with the swimming pool, one is in the mountains, one is on the west coast, in Los Angeles, in the flat area of LA, but the house design is exactly the same. They have the same number of bedrooms, the same number of bathrooms, they have the same kitchen design, meaning they even have the same damn countertops and the same toilets. Everything about these houses are the same, except for the location. Those are still not exact assets. You wouldn't necessarily trade one for the other. They're going to be valued differently depending on proximity to jobs, proximity to fun stuff to do. If I'm a skier, for instance, I probably would have a higher value of this chalet up in the mountains in a ski area than I would the same design of a house that's down in the valley with a swimming pool. Maybe I don't know how to swim, for instance. look, I did grow up in the desert, so I didn't really learn to swim in anything that was deeper than kind of waist deep, you know. So maybe I'm deathly afraid of that, and so the snow is all for me because it's soft and fluffy, and it makes me feel just so awesome and freezing, but also, you know, I love that soft fluffiness. So I'm just painting a picture here, right? See, one person will value these homes differently than another, and so will the market, okay? So I would say that other examples here, I've got, you know, cars, you know, one car that was the same paint job and it even came off the same assembly line. Well, maybe they were one right after the other. It was car number 7 and car number 8 of that lot of cars that came out, and it was exactly the same as far as the manufacturer is concerned. But let's say that those came off the line in 2017 and there's been one owner of each, but one has more miles on it than another. Or the driver did maintenance and the other driver didn't do maintenance. Or there are a variety of things. This one has 2 dings and that one has no dings. It has an impeccable paint job that still looks amazing. So those cars, even though they're at the beginning, might have been considered wholly equivalent when they were on the lot and brand new. Now, after time, there are some differences. And so those are non-fungible assets. Baseball cards, same type of thing, right? They could have the same Ken Griffey baseball card. I don't know baseball all that well, so I'm just, hopefully Ken Griffey was an actual baseball player. Sue me if I'm if I'm wrong, or at least tell me in the comments that I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I don't know anything about baseball. But baseball cards, I know that some have great value and some don't, depending on a variety of factors, how rare they are, you know, how well that player did in that given year, and of course, how the collectors have treated those cards. You know, a card that never got taken out of its original packaging, so never touched by the little oily fingers that we have and things like that, never breathed on by a collector directly. I mean, maybe there's some permeability in the plastic, but I don't know. Those baseball cards are going to hold a different value depending on how many people have even held them. Maybe 2 cards, they're exactly the same Ken Griffey's, and they both stayed in their packaging, and they both never saw the light of day. They've been in a dark folio and all of that kind of stuff. And yet that folio was, you know, for one card was traded to 1, 2, 3 people down the years, and the other one you bought it from the original owner who, I don't know, who's a famous baseball card collector. So that provenance of that card, there's maybe a value put on that by who owned it, even though the cards themselves are equivalent. So you can see there are a lot of aspects of fungibility and non-fungibility in this case that can really affect the value of something that at first glance seems to be exact or almost identical. Let's see. I mentioned, of course, the ski house. What if it has a view of the mountains that's valued differently? Yeah, floor plans, houses, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so obviously you can see I put together all kinds of crazy material here because I'm doing research in this area. And I'm going to be sharing all this kind of stuff with you for the next year, over the next 365 days. Today is day 8 of my live stream videos. So we've got a long way to go. We're going to learn a lot together. And of course, I want you to be able to give me feedback. So let me see. I've got the chat going here, but not that many people know about my channel yet, or channels, depending on where you're seeing this, because I have it going live out to 4 different places all at the same time, which is cool. But because this is brand new, I need your help. I really need you to, number one, subscribe if you like this content. That would be super helpful. That way you'll always learn when new material is coming out, even though I'm doing it daily. You'll be reminded, which is cool. And of course, having a number of subscribers helps the YouTube algorithm put me higher up in the list when people are doing searches for certain topics. So that's super helpful for us to get discovered by more people. And then, of course, if you have artist friends, or even people that are in the world of luxury goods and collecting those. A lot of what I'm sharing it's going to be valuable for them as well, and be totally appropriate to help those people. So if you know any of those people, I would love for you to share my content. You can do a little share on a video and send that off to a friend through your text or through an email or something. Or, of course, you can give them my little URL, of course, that gets them to my channel wherever you are, if it's on YouTube or Facebook, Twitter, wherever this is going out, wherever you find us. It would be fantastic for you to share us so that we can reach more people and help more artists, because that's what we're trying to do here. I'm an artist myself, but I also have a tech background, but I have a very soft spot for people out there trying to make a career and feel this compulsion, this need, this drive to be able to take in what they're experiencing in the world and reflect it back in an artistic format. I want those people to succeed, and that's what this channel, this Phenomenal Future podcasting program is all about. So thank you for that, for hopefully sharing this with at least one friend. That would be fantastic. Let's go ahead and get into the content a little bit more here. I want to give you just a little bit more of an example here. Let's see, some tricky blockchain coders will likely create decentralized applications. They would call that DApp, a decentralized application, DApp for short. They're going to create some DApps with bartering capability that allow owners to offer and trade NFTs without the need to exchange fungible assets like cryptocurrencies. Okay, right now, if you want to buy an NFT, you pay for that in cryptocurrency. If you want to sell an NFT, you're going to ask someone to give you cryptocurrency, and you will give them that NFT, or it will automatically be done through the code on the blockchain. But yeah, I have a feeling that in the future there are going to be more things that can be done. This idea of bartering. Oh, I'm gonna say these. I'm gonna put these 4 NFTs up and see what other people might offer me other NFTs, and do just a trade where there's actually no money or fungible cryptocurrency, whatever, exchanging hands, and it's literally 2 people or 2 groups making a decision that, yes, I will take what you want to give for these things that I am willing to give you. But that's not out there yet. But I have a feeling that anything that we currently have in our current world that we can do will eventually be able to be done on the blockchain. But I also feel that, in contrary, there will be things that people come up with that don't exist in our current world that we will be able to do through the blockchain. I think I mentioned one of those just a little bit earlier, but don't worry about that. Let's keep forging forward, okay? Shall we? Let's see here. I would say for an artist, that whole barter system is probably not that big of a deal. I say it because it's possible that will come along. But, let's say I'm an artist and I kind of want to, eat food and pay for my rent and stuff. The idea of actually getting a fungible asset that I can use for other things, like living and keeping a roof over my head, is an awesome thing. So that's probably what artists are going to care about the most right now. But one interesting thing about the barter system is for people who have a lot of assets, when you sell something, you make money. The money exchanges that shows up in your bank account. Well, technically you should show that as income, and you're paying taxes on it and all that kind of stuff. The bartering, the trading of items for items, it's not something that the IRS will be able to track all that well, and so that's one way to avoid some tax implications. By the way, not a CPA, not a tax professional. I'm not giving you tax advice here. I'm just spouting off some thoughts on what that might do when it becomes available. Let's see. There is also an interesting thing that has already started. A lot of NFTs have gained value rather rapidly. Say someone bought a piece of an NFT art piece for $1,000, and that artist, everyone loves this artist, and the trading frenzy just happens, and in less than a year, the value of that art has gone from $1,000 to $500,000. This has actually happened, by the way, and we will go over some case studies in future videos for that. But it's rare. Just want to say that it's rare, but it does happen. You don't want to sell that NFT, do you? I mean, you bought it for a reason. You love it, but you'd kind of like to go buy a new house. Maybe you want to upgrade, and you've got this $500,000 thing sitting around that you would have to then sell, and it's gone. There are lending platforms that allow you to borrow against the value of something like that. Now, it's the more non-fungible something is, the fewer people who have an interest in and believe that there is a certain value in an item. Okay, the worse those terms are going to be on that lending, meaning the interest rate might be higher, and you also may be able to, let's say your value is $500,000 for that item, your percent of that value that you could actually borrow is going to be less and less and less as fewer people find the value in that object or token. Okay, so that's why you can borrow a lot against your house, because everybody buys houses. Their house, it's ubiquitous. Everyone has homes or have to live somewhere in an apartment, something like that. But that 1956 Ferrari, there are only so many people that are interested in buying that amazing old vehicle, and so borrowing against that kind of value is going to be the terms will just not as good for the borrower. The lender sees more risk in all of that. Same thing will happen here in NFTs. But if you have $500,000 value and they would lend you 50%, $250,000 if you needed to do that, you could go start a business with $250,000, and you had originally only bought a $1,000 item. That's pretty cool. I'm really excited about that possibility. I wouldn't say go out and just spend it on a big party or a big yacht ride or something. It's always nice to consider that when you borrow money, to use it to go make more money. That's just a good rule in life. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that. They certainly didn't teach that to me. I got crazy stuff happening here on my phone, so I'm gonna just shut that down. But no one taught me that when I was a kid, so I thought, why not give you a little bit of financial lesson here while I have you. That is probably all I want to cover today. Let me just look here at my notes and see. I think I pretty much covered everything. Like I said, I just want to give little digestible bits. I don't want to, do 5-hour videos and something and give you a masterclass on everything. And my speaking style might not be something that you can absorb over a very long period of time. I do talk rather rapidly, and of course I am thinking in many ways extemporaneously. So a little dose of me on a daily basis is probably enough. But I appreciate whoever is watching this. Please leave comments, give me negative, positive feedback, constructive criticism, throw down topics that you want me to cover, things that you think might be important for others to learn or that you would like to learn. I'll go out and do the research and report back to you. And I will also elucidate any topic that I've just barely touched on that you want more information on and go into a deep dive. I'd be happy to do that for all of the people out there who are potentially watching this. So I really appreciate you being here. I'm Jason Brunizer, Phenomenal Future Podcast, Phenomenal Future Program, Project, there are a lot of P's, Plan, Prison, no, not that one, but a lot of different P's when it comes to Phenomenal Future. And that's what I want you to have, and that's what I'm trying to give you. And let's go on this journey together and turn that future into something phenomenal for me, you, and everybody that you know. So until next time, adios from Texas.